Good evening. I'm Reverend Jeanmarie, and it is a blessing to have you with us tonight for our Wednesday night meditation Sangha. We'll begin our time together with 5 minutes of a gong bath led by Dr. Mary Fair. So the gong is simply an opportunity for you to make an energetic shift from the busyness of the day, from the commute here, into our time of meditation. So you can receive it however you would like for the next 5 minutes. You may lie on the floor if that is something that would support you. If you do lie on the floor, we recommend that you point your feet towards the gong to get the full effect of the vibration of the experience. And if you're at home, we invite you to create a quiet space where you are, to silence your devices and allow this to be a sacred time of turning within and coming to peace. So now we'll begin. Thank you, Mary. The gong truly supports us in having an energetic tune-up. You can feel it at the cellular level. We're going to move into a time of sitting practice. This is mindfulness meditation, also known as insight meditation or vipassana. It's a practice to bring your attention into the now moment so that you can experience greater peace and freedom, insight for your life. So we'll have a 25-minute time of sitting in the silence, and there'll be some guidance. It'll begin with the sound of the bowl, and as you listen to the bowl, I invite you to really listen to the sound of how the bowl is struck and listen all the way till the sound dissipates. And we'll do that together to bring our minds into the present moment. As we turn within, I invite you to find a seated posture where you can sit with dignity and graciousness. Establishing a simple sense of presence as you sit in the space. Let your body settle here and now. Let your mind be at ease as best you can in this moment. Notice the state of your body and bring a kind attention to it. Now bring your attention to your breathing, the fact that you are breathing in this moment. Noticing that breathing is always happening. You're not always aware of it. It's always happening quite naturally. So let's take 2 deep, relaxing breaths, feeling your breath as it fills your body and releases. Now allow your breath to resume its natural rhythm. Notice where in your body you most naturally sense the movement of the breath. You might notice the coolness of the air entering your nostrils, or a tingling at the back of your throat, or warmth on your upper lip. It might be the rise and fall of the chest or the belly. Or you might be most attentive to the sensations of the whole body breathing. Wherever you most easily feel the natural rhythm of the breath, rest your kind attention there. If it is difficult for you to feel the breath in any of these ways, you can put the palm of your hand on your belly and notice how it rises and falls with each breath. Now let yourself feel the next 3 in and out breaths. And as you sense each breath, let the mind calm and the body relax. Now try 3 more breaths. Continue with this relaxed and calming attention on the breath. And each time you notice your mind has wandered from the breath, gently bring it back again and again. No judgment, no frustration. Just gently and kindly bringing the mind back to the breath. Just like training a puppy, bring your attention back to the breath again and again. this breath just now. Continue to sense the breath. And come back when the attention has wandered. When you feel each breath, sense how it can calm and relax you when you naturally inhale and exhale. Now see if you can notice 4, 5, or 6 breaths in a row while relaxing with calm mindfulness. You may be aware of sounds in the space around you. Simply note any sounds as hearing. And keep your attention with your awareness of the breath. Noticing how each breath is different. There are no two breaths that are the same. Just allowing the breath to be as it is. No need to control the breath. Noticing your own natural and ever-changing rhythms. Your task is simply to be aware of it and be patient with yourself. Being present just where you are. If you notice your body tensing in any way, perhaps fill it with a half smile of kindness. As we move into the final minutes of our practice, see if you can notice something different about your breath that you haven't noticed yet tonight. Feeling yourself grounded through the soles of your feet, connecting with the earth beneath us. Feel where your body is making contact with the chair beneath you. Strong spine, soft belly. The sound of the bowl will signify the close of our sitting practice this evening. Mindfulness continues. Thank you for bringing your presence to this space this evening. Tonight, the Dharma teaching is on the 3 R's of mindfulness. So I invite you to listen with your whole body and be present to this teaching as it resonates with you tonight. As I was thinking about sharing this teaching with you, I called to mind the story of The Sound of Music. Are any of you familiar with The Sound of Music? It's a musical. Yes, my husband is directing a production of it this summer, and there were auditions last week, so we listened to quite a bit of the music. He's our live streamer, by the way, David. And in the story, there's a newly hired governess for the Von Trapp family, and her name is Maria, and she decides to teach the children to sing. The children didn't know how to sing, and so she begins her lesson by singing, "When you read, you begin with A, B, C. When you sing, you begin with Do, Re, Mi." And so when you begin any kind of practice, there is some basics, an ABC or a Do, Re, Mi. Well, with mindfulness is no different. So what we're calling it tonight is the 3 R's. They're the 3 basics of mindfulness. In education, we speak of the 3 R's as reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? The 3 R's. In mindfulness practice, the first R stands for recognize. Recognition is our ability to recognize a particular experience. To be mindful is to recognize, as we did in our sitting practice, the movement of the breath. To recognize thinking as a thought arises. To recognize feeling as a feeling arises. And to recognize sensing as you experience a sensation in the body. Recognize. So recognition requires awareness. Mindfulness means I am aware. That I'm aware that I am aware, and that I recognize the object of my awareness, such as the object may be the breath, the thoughts, the sensations in the body. So in practicing recognition, it's especially important to recognize those experiences that are highly charged and that often trigger us to lose mindfulness and to go unconscious. So you may think of something that comes to mind where you get struck suddenly by something and you lose mindfulness. Intense pleasure or pain can trigger us to go into a reactive response of going unconscious. Strong emotions can do the same. An essential component of mindfulness is to recognize our experience before we react. So the more that we sit, the more that we practice meditation and mindfulness, we get a bit more of a cushion, a bit more space before we go into that automatic response that we may be programmed to respond to certain incidences with. That's the gift of the practice, one of them. The second R, so first R, recognize. The second R is refrain. To refrain means to refrain from reacting automatically when strong feelings arise within you. It means to refrain from acting out habituated behavior patterns that are based on judgment or fear. Typically, we act out these reactive patterns when we experience intense pain or pleasure or when very strong emotions arise. When we experience intense pain, we have a tendency to react with some form of aversion, resistance, or judgment of that experience. Often it shouldn't be happening, or there's some kind of strong resistance to not wanting to have that experience. With intense pleasure, we often react with some kind of pattern of clinging, wanting to hold on to that experience, or judgment around it. There is a mental equivalent to physical pain, and that is the experience of uncertainty or not knowing. We don't like this, right? The mind abhors a vacuum. It demands answers, and if we don't have any, it'll just make up a story to fill that in. To refrain is to be willing to live with the unknown and to allow the self to feel vulnerable in that experience. When we refrain, we practice pausing and experiencing life directly rather than reacting on autopilot. So when a situation occurs, to refrain means to stop and take a deep breath and to drop into direct awareness rather than into unconscious reactivity. This doesn't mean that we suppress our experience. It doesn't mean that. It's simply not reacting automatically or unconsciously. Any response that we then make, once we've taken the moment to breathe, to be present to our experience, we can then choose a response that's deliberately chosen rather than an automatic reaction, heightened emotion type response. So recognize, refrain, and the third R is relax. Relax. We're here to relax, right? That's why we came to a meditation tonight. Most of us, I imagine all of us, want to feel greater relaxation in the body, the mind, the emotions. So relaxation is essential to mindfulness practice. It means to approach your practice with an open heart, to relax the body, and to quiet the mind. We begin our practice by being willing to stay open rather than tightening up and shutting down. And so we breathe deeply to start our practice. We sense into the body, and we're present to the heart and what's showing up in our heart, how our heart is feeling in that moment. To relax also means to not cling to pleasure, but simply accepting it when it's here and letting it leave when it does leave. To relax the mind means not clinging to our views and our opinions and not grasping for desired outcomes. Now, this can be challenging in an election year, right? To relax means to hold our judgments lightly and to be willing to live with uncertainty. Now, we all certainly have our preferences and our opinions. This is an inevitable part of human nature. However, we can relax and we can hold them lightly rather than to be obsessive with them, to be addictively clinging to them. And so to review, the 3 R's are recognize, refrain, and relax. Yes. And we could add a 4th R, which would be repeat. Repeat. Again and again. Repeat. You just can repeat these practices over and over. Mindfulness is an ongoing process, and we never do it perfectly or according to what the ego defines as perfect. Our ego conditioning is to strive to always get it right. And what is right? What is right? That's an ego idea. In mindfulness practice, there really is no right. There is only what is right for this moment. We're never finished because we're not trying to get anywhere with mindfulness practice. The starting block and the finishing line are always right here and right now. As we practice the 3 R's of mindfulness, we simply seek to live in the present moment with as much wisdom and compassion as we can, and that is our ongoing practice. Namaste. So we take this moment now before we move into the rest of the spiritual practice and time of sharing in our Sangha to have our dana practice, our offering, and some announcements.
All right. Thank you, Reverend Jeanmarie. These teachings are so helpful in learning how to live skillfully. Every week I pick up something new that's going to be part of my approach to life. We're really happy to see a lot of new faces here tonight, and maybe some online too, some new people. Our Sangha is growing, and each one of you is a blessing to everybody else in the room just by being here, by your presence. So thank you for being here. Our Sangha is here for you, We're here to provide maybe a refuge from your busy lives, from your normal patterns of thought. So this is here to support you. And if you do feel supported by this Sangha, we like to provide an opportunity for you to make a love offering any way that works for you. We have several options up there: PayPal, our website, text to give, and of course mailing in a check. So would you please join me in reciting the offering blessing? Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. And so it is. Amen. And while the offering bag is going around, I'll share a few announcements with you. Saturday is going to be a fun day around here. At 11 o'clock in the morning, there will be a labyrinth walk right here in the chapel. We'll be putting out a 24-foot canvas labyrinth. If you've not done this before, it's a walking meditation. Very simple. You just follow the path. It can bring a lot of peace and insight sometimes. So that will be at 11 o'clock until 12:30 here in the chapel. If you plan to come, bring a pair of socks, and we'll be ready for you. And then at 1 o'clock, we have the sound immersion in the pyramid. And that's a wonderful sound experience, so you can come and stay all day and enjoy both things. That is from 1 to 3. Our Sunday service is titled Show Up, the Gift of Presence. And this is part of Reverend Michael's new May talk series called the 4 Mantras for Life. Yeah. Yes, 4 Mantras for Life. So this is the first one. Show Up, the Gift of Presence, 11 o'clock Sunday in the sanctuary. And then next week, right here for our Wednesday night meditation Sangha, Reverend Jeanmarie will talk about the role of ethics in spiritual practice. That should be interesting, 7 o'clock here in the chapel.
So don't be turned off by the word ethics. It's really about how it arises from within you. There's so much of this mindfulness is about discerning your own guidance from within. And so as we move into our time of reflection, I want to share with you a poem from the book Poetry of Presence. It's called Instructions for the Journey by Pat Schneider. The self you leave behind is only a skin you have outgrown. Don't grieve for it. Look to the wet, raw, unfinished self, the one you are becoming. The world too sheds its skin. Politicians, cataclysms, ordinary days. It's easy to lose this tenderly unfolding moment. Look for it as if it were the first green blade after a long winter. Listen for it as if it were the first clear tone in a place where dawn is heralded by bells. And if all that fails, wash your own dishes. Rinse them. Stand in your kitchen at your sink. Let cold water run between your fingers. Feel it. And that's practicing mindfulness. So my question for us to begin our time of discussion is, what practice do you find most supportive in returning to mindfulness in your life? So that's for us here, and for those on the live stream, we invite you to share with anyone in your space or take some time to journal. What practice do you find most supportive in returning to mindfulness in your life? And with that, we will conclude our live stream tonight. Thank you for joining us. Hope to see you here in the chapel whenever you can join us in person. Namaste.